What is up, Illuminerds? We are here with the Power Rangers fandom spotlight, and this week we got none other than the architect, the man behind the Geeks of East LA, Danny Castellanos. Dude, how are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me.
If you guys do not know his content, it's weird, especially if you guys are Power Ranger fans, because that is you're one of the staples within the Power Ranger footage or Power Ranger fan films and stuff. You're like one of the pillars for it. Like you are probably, I remember watching you and Chris coming up like around around the same time. Can you tell me how you got started with the fandom and why you chose to center your content around a lot of Power Ranger content?
Dude, oh my gosh, when I started this was like forever ago. I guess what started it is, there was this fan contest for like SpongeBob SquarePants back when it was big, and Nickelodeon was having like this cool challenge, and I decided, hey, you know what? Why don't I do that with my little brother and sister? And we did the contest. We lost, unfortunately, but I really
is that video still out there?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's like floating around somewhere in my YouTube channel.
All right, that's cool. So yeah, so you lost, but
yeah, we did that contest. We failed, but I tested a lot of my green screen. What happened?
What's that?
I tested my green screen. I tested a lot of like VFX things, and then like I was like, oh my gosh, this was fun. The kids had fun. I had fun, and the family all saw that video, and they were like, oh my gosh, you should keep doing this.
Yeah.
And then Jason David Frank had a contest and recreating what is it, a favorite Power Rangers like episode. And I was like, it was just like coincidentally like around the same time. So I said, oh, why don't we do that contest? And the whole reason, I was keeping eyes on like Jason David Frank and like that was because my little brother and sister were watching Power Rangers, and I was like, oh my gosh, Power Rangers is still around. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh, you guys need to see the Power Rangers. And I introduced them to Mighty Morphin and all that. And, I started connecting with social media of like, with the actors and stuff and what they've been up to.
Yeah.
And then JDF posted this contest and recreating like your favorite MMPR episode. And again, I got my friends, my brother and sister, and we just recreated a whole episode from Mighty Morphin. And I think that was, I guess, like the immediate reaction the fans had, because he shared it and we won that contest.
What
was what gave me that, like, oh my gosh, I should keep doing this. I mean, I've always loved acting and filming. Why don't I just like keep doing this? And that's what made the channel grow. And it was more of like making fan morphs and stories. And yeah.
Was the channel We the Geeks of East LA back then, or was it your personal channel back then?
It was my personal channel. It was under my Instagram name, Surfer. And once we started like blowing up was when I decided to change the name. And I think once we got the silver play button, they ask you what you want this to go under, and I chose We the Geeks of East LA.
So what's the history behind that? What can you tell us like how the name came to be?
So the name came to be because, dude, like when we started doing these videos and stuff, like there was like no cons. Cons was barely a brand new thing. And I mean, cons have been around, but it wasn't like
how it is today,
as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So me and Marisol, my fiance, we we attended our first convention, and that was Kamikaze, LA Comic Con now.
Yeah.
It was under Kamikaze. It was owned by Stanley, and that was our first convention.
Wow.
And we took pictures, and we posted them, and people just like, people around the community just like messaged us like, what is this? Where did you guys go? And I told my fiance, you know what? We should make a page, and we should post like these cool little events. People really seem to dig it. And she was like, what should we call it? And I was like, I don't know. I mean, we we can like work on this together and just put like geek content. And she's like, oh, why don't we just call it We the Geeks? And I
Mm.
was like, even better, let's call it We the Geeks of East LA, because we're from East.
Yeah. That's awesome. So that's how the name came to be.
Right.
Was it always you and your fiance and your brother and sister, or did you want to add more people to the group?
We definitely wanted to add more people to the group. My younger brother Michael, he's actually been a part of it from the very beginning. He always played our villain when we did things. He just never wanted to show his face. But I feel like what started off as me, my fiance, and my brother and sisters, it grew. You know, um, we met people from Long Beach, we met people from Riverside, and I feel that this name that we kept uh, has evolved to what it was meant for.
Mhm.
It was a collective of creative people just getting together, just um, creating great content, and it not necessarily just creating content, but sharing this knowledge of like you know back when Toys R Us was a thing, we were hopping together and like sharing information like, oh, you guys are looking for this, check this out, it's here, you
Yeah.
know. And that's basically what the name was for. It was to inform people in the community, there's this convention going on. Um, these actors are going to be here. You should definitely come down. And I feel like that's what we're doing now till this
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
even
Which
if
is
we're not
awesome.
using like the the Facebook page to do that. We're doing it in our own pages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Now, what was your first introduction to Power Rangers? Was it MMPR?
My first introduction to Power Rangers had to be Turbo.
Oh,
I watched Turbo, and then I saw the transition to Space. So that's the season I started with. I started with Turbo to Space, and in between was Beetleborgs. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, as far as, because you're a man of many hats, what some people don't know is that you not only do you shoot it and act in them and write the scripts and the stories, but you also edit it and do all the effects in it. How was that always the plan, or do you feel like it's getting harder and harder to do just on your own?
Um, oh man, dude. Uh, See, one of the things I always say is, like if you have a vision, go out and do it.
Yeah.
Um, I feel that if you have a vision and you can't do it, you're already limiting yourself. Just because you're already telling yourself, "Oh, I can't do it because I don't know how to do this,"
Hmm.
And I feel that when I started doing this, I started with what I could do, and that was like basic green screen, you
Hmm.
know, um, Halloween costumes. Like my first Power Rangers cosplay was literally the Green Ranger Halloween outfit. That video's
Nice.
still up there. That
Yeah.
video's still up there. You can go and check it out. And the thing is, I I've had offers of people saying, "Hey, if you need somebody to do VFX, hit me up and this and that." And I appreciate that. I appreciate it 100%. But um, then they start asking, well, I charge this for how many hours, and I
Yeah.
charge that, and it's like, hey, I respect that. 100%. You know, I pay people when I can't do something. Like one of the biggest things I can't do is music. So I have people that do music, and you know, we pay them to use their music.
Mhm.
Um, but if it's like something I can do, I'd rather not pay somebody if I can do it.
And then it becomes part of your repertoire. You have that knowledge and those
Yeah,
skills to
yeah, yeah,
carry on forward. So that's pretty
exactly.
amazing. Now, as far as a big part of your growth in your channel is you guys have enjoyed the cosplay aspect of it. Can you tell
Hmm.
me how that came to be and how that all started? Because after that, I felt like that's when like the content like leveled up, you know, as far as that in that aspect.
Um, the cosplay started at Kamikaze. I think I dressed up as Ash Ketchum.
Hmm.
Um, and then when we did our first Power Rangers video, uh, I had a Halloween costume. It was the Green Ranger Halloween costume.
Hmm.
And even then, like I hated that costume because I had the foam padding of the suit, and I literally teared that up because I was like, I wanted to look accurate. And it still didn't look accurate. Um, but um, but I gotta give it to my friend James. My friend James McGuire from the UK. He saw what we were doing, and he hit me up in a DM, and he said, "Hey, I really love what you're doing. Is there any way I can help you?"
Hmm.
And I said, James, if you're watching this, I still remember that conversation. Um, and I said, sure. You know, what would you want to help? He said, I want to donate a suit to you.
Wow.
And I was like, you know, I appreciate the help. But I was like, dude, no. He's like, no, trust me. Like, I love what you're doing, and I know you can do more. Please let me just send you a suit. And it was a lot of back and forth. I didn't want to do it, and he donated the the Red Lost Galaxy Ranger
Oh my
suit.
god. And I
And
think from what I see, I think that's your favorite suit.
it is one of my favorite suits, and it's not just because the season is great, but I cherish that moment of somebody believing in me
Hmm.
and saying, "Hey, I want to do this for you because I can see that this is something that's going to be bigger."
Hmm.
And you know, if it wasn't for that, I don't know where my content would be, you know,
Yeah.
because we did so many videos with that suit. Um, and that's probably why it's one of my favorite suits, is because it's the only suit I've done a lot of videos with.
Yeah.
Because it was like the second suit I've ever owned. And, you know, James, you know, if it wasn't for him, till this day, you know, he still, you know, helps us. He still like says that, hey, if you guys need funding for something, you know, here's my donations, you know.
Yeah.
So he's been a part of so many projects for such a long time. And I was very happy to return that favor to him. And I got him into PMC, I think like a few years ago. And it's this friendship that I've had with somebody I didn't know in
Hmm.
person, you know. Um, but yeah, that encouraged me to say, you know, okay, if I want to continue doing this, I need more suits like that, you
Yeah.
know. So, dude, I was working 3 jobs, and you know, I funded all the stuff that you know we needed. So that included more suits. What a lot of people don't know is I have a lot of suits, but all these suits I didn't order from Aniki. I didn't order from a suit maker. All these suits were I purchased them obviously, but I purchased them secondhand.
Hmm. Hmm.
So a lot of these suits, you know, there's Facebook pages like Power
Facebook
Rangers traders,
Ranger.
Power Rangers traders, buyers and sellers.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people were like, "Hey, we don't, I don't have use for this suit. I'm letting it go for like $300."
Yeah.
For me, $300 wasn't a lot just because I was working 3 jobs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, cool. And these suits weren't in great shape, you know, but you know, my fiance knows how to sew. I found out, how to buff out scratches from helmets, how to wax them, how to, get them back into shape.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's how I got many of my suits. They were all like hand-me-downs, second hands that people were just getting rid of. So that's how the evolution of the costumes came to be, and how I had a collection of costumes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, so there's one time, I don't know if it's you, it could be you, and if it is,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. 2015, there was a convention in LA. I think it was LA Cosplay Con. It was in a
Mhm.
hotel. Were you there?
LA Cosplay Con. ALA?
No, it was LA. It was called LA Cosplay Con. But there's a guy that had a Quasar saber. He was dressed in a Red Galaxy suit, and like I just had to take a picture of him. I need to find the picture, but it might have been you. I can't remember. But
I think it was me.
yeah,
I do remember a convention. It was at a hotel,
yeah,
and I think that was the first time ever I bought a prop
uh-huh,
from like eBay.
yeah.
So I think that was me.
Yeah, yeah. If a Mega Man came up to you and asked you to see the Quasar saber, that was me.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Find that
that
picture and I'll
I,
confirm it.
yeah, we need to find that picture.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that I ask a lot of creators now, especially with how the landscape is with creating this content for the franchise, is the opportunity and the privilege to work with some of the greats from the franchise. You have worked with a lot of the greats in the franchise. Does does it ever kind of do you ever sit back and think like, wow, I'm working with Christopher Kamen Lee or Brendan Mejia? Does that ever like just kind of like do you just lose your minds or like fanboy over those moments?
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'd say like I'm a lot older now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a younger me did fanboy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can tell you, the first time I talked to Brennan, I was a super fanboy. um, now, like now it's like it feels like more mature and
Mm-hmm.
more respectful.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, dude, like I mean, if it for me, fanboying is totally fine,
Yeah.
because you meet your role models, and then on top of that, if you're working with them and you're like directing them, it's kind of like, oh dang,
Yeah.
I'm telling them what to do.
Yeah.
you know but I dude, it's the level of respect, like treat others the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that with the actors is very important,
Mm-hmm.
like separating yourself from a fan, and then separating yourself in a professional level, and then the friendship afterwards is great,
Yeah.
but yeah, dude, when I met Brendan Mejia the first time, it was San Diego Comic-Con. I ran into him. I super fanboy,
Yeah.
super fanboy. um Now the way I present myself to some of the greats is it's more in a respected level,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but yeah, dude, I definitely, dude, when Kim and Lee and me like shot well, we shot one of our videos a long time ago. I had him face off Darth Vader.
Yeah.
um and he's a huge Star Wars
He
fan.
had the robe and
And
everything.
dude, I made him put on the red robe,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm dude, I'm dressing him, I'm dressing him and putting it on, and I'm looking at him, and I'm here like, oh my god, it's Andros.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know but yeah, dude, I mean, yeah, I definitely have my moments when I fanboy, but I gotta like remind myself, hey,
Gotta be professional.
you gotta be professional,
Now, I mean, these Rangers have a lot of fans, but you have a lot of fans too. Was there ever a moment or a time that you remember that you hold so dearly to your heart, like a fan moment or an interaction with you and someone that has loved your work?
Um, dude, it was Ranger Stop. Ranger Stop. This kid came up to me, and he he was like, "Oh my gosh, you're the Red Ranger," and I'm here like, no. But he's like, no, I watch your YouTube videos. Yeah, I forget his name. And he was like, I really wish I had something for you to design. And I was like, well, we can take a picture.
Yeah.
The very next day, he came with that picture we took and he had me sign it.
Aw.
And that stuck with me forever.
Mhm.
And what sticks to me a lot is also meeting the fans that like my work but also ask me questions,
Mhm.
um, because it's to me, it's like I'm inspiring people, which believe me, I hate seeing myself like this, but it's like I didn't have that,
Mhm.
um, and to be able to, to help somebody who doesn't have, you know, like what I had, because I had nothing, I had the computer, I had whatever motivated me to do it. And sit down and figure this out, and to have people tell you, oh my gosh, I love your work, I'm trying to do this, how do you do it, and being able to have that opportunity of being like, okay, listen, this is what you got to do, you know it's really cool. It's
Mhm.
great. It's like one of the greatest feelings to have, because at the end of the day, you don't know who this person is going to be later on in the future,
Yeah.
and it's not, oh, they're going to shout me out later, but it's going to be one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, I know that kid, or I know that person, I am happy for them,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Definitely.
And I think those I like cherishing those moments of helping people out, trying to bring their projects to life,
Mhm.
because yeah, it's really rewarding, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Definitely. Now you mentioned motivation.
Mhm.
What type of things motivate you to keep going and keep going forward? Like I like if a lot of people don't know, like content creating is not an easy job. You're constantly thinking about the next video, the next thing, and what goes into the next video, what goes into the next project. What what in your life motivates you to keep going and keep creating this content that you love to make?
um TV shows.
Yeah.
TV shows for one thing. Watching perfect example, Mandalorian. As soon as I watched the first season of Mandalorian, I had the idea for the Lost Child. Um,
That's one of my favorite of your series. I'm waiting
Thank you.
for part two.
Oh, dude, part two, man, it's gonna happen. It's happening. It's already in the process. But dude, yeah, watching Mandalorian is one thing. Watching Super Sentai, constantly go back and watch series that I already know, just because watching the way they shoot things, watching the way the VFX are done, inspires me, and I'm just like, dude, I want to create this. And I have a group chat with the guys, and I'm like, yo, we need to do this for the next video, or I'm constantly writing down like what I think, and I send it to them, and then them going, dude, that'd be badass, yeah, we should do it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the motivation.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know I get motivated from TV shows, the storytelling, the VFX, and then I share it with the guys, and then the guys are saying that is great, or no, this doesn't work, but this is how it could work, motivates me even more.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's why that's the motivation, is just surrounding yourself by people that support you and want to see this come to life. I have this thing where it's like it's my project, but the moment I share it with people and the moment they share back, it's our project.
Yeah.
It's no longer mine. So it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
Definitely.
motivation.
Definitely. Now, along with content creating, comes there's definitely a lot of ups and a lot of positive things, but there's also sometimes a lot of negative things. How do you block that type of stuff out and not let us stop you from continuing on with your goal?
Um, well, there is a lot of negativity. Um, well, I feel like on my early days there was a lot of negativity, just because I didn't take creative criticism very well.
Hmm.
I was young. I didn't take it very well, and I hated reading, bad comments, you know. And I feel like I don't get that anymore.
Hmm.
And that could be because of the giant shift within the algorithm,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah,
which is something that we could talk about too.
yeah.
but because I feel like now the viewers that I have now, the true viewers that I have now, are people that are fans and people that give creative criticism for
Hmm.
two, and it's not necessarily negative anymore,
Yeah, yeah.
and I feel like that's with this algorithm that's changed,
Hmm.
but dude, the back then the negative comments, I used to be a keyword warrior.
Oh yeah.
So I
It's
used to
it's it's really it's really
respond.
hard. It's really hard to stop. To
Yeah.
separate yourself from that. But I think once you get to like the upper epsilon, you
Yeah.
have to let it go.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And but that's the thing, is that like I'm not ashamed of saying, oh, I used to be this way,
yeah.
But it's like I've learned to not listen to them. I've
Hmm.
learned to just ignore it, delete the comment, and not worry about it again, and continue doing what I love. Because at the end of the day, I do this because I love it, you
Yeah.
know? And I feel that once somebody gives you a negative comment or just starts bashing you, it's not a creative criticism. It's not
Hmm.
gonna elevate me. It's not gonna deteriorate me if I pay attention to it. So I learned to just ignore it,
Hmm.
you know. Um, and I learned to actually take a creative criticism.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe I should work on this. Maybe I should pay attention to this. So that's really how I handled it back in the day and
Yeah.
now, you know.
Yeah. Now you had mentioned something we have talked about recently, the algorithm.
Mm,
So when all of us first started, and when you started, it was a totally different algorithm. Can you tell us, let the audience know what happened between then and now that kind of changed the whole landscape of the content creating that you do?
okay. Can I pause this really quick?
Yeah, yeah.
My phone's gonna die.
Pause. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, my bad. Sorry.
No. It's my fault. I should have prepared this better. But okay. See if it's charging now. Sorry. I
No
know the
worries.
computer. The computer situation really threw me off.
No
Let
worries,
me.
man. I kind of threw this thing at you like last minute. So
No,
yeah.
dude, it's totally fun. Okay, I think we're good.
All
I
right.
think we're
Cool.
good. This should be good, right?
Yeah.
Is my phone charging? Yeah, it is. Cool, fantastic. All right. So the question was, what's the change? Okay. All right.
Yep. Algorithm.
So the algorithm changed drastically. Um, I feel like back in the day, I used to upload something, and it just hit every audience.
Hmm.
Whether it was a kid, whether it was an adult, whether it was a teenager, it just hit. And I feel I feel like I never said this enough in my YouTube channel, but people were sharing it, whether I told them or not, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful, because your content was able to reach the mass. Um, but then this change in this algorithm, the whole division between YouTube Kids and YouTube, completely changed the way things were being shared, um, the way things were being uploaded. Um, so before, it was great. Did a video, upload it. It was in the tube and it reached everybody. Now I feel like even to upload, you have to fill out all these pages of like, does this contain violence? Does this not contain
Yep.
violence? If
Yep.
it
The
does,
checklist.
why? Yeah. Okay. It's a checklist. And the beginning, I felt this be I it hurt me the first time with the lost child, actually. That was the first video I uploaded when this change happened. And I was filling this out. And then YouTube sends me a message saying, we've received your paperwork. Please give us 24 hours before you fully upload this video. So I didn't even have permission to upload my video when it was done. Um, and now it's changed. Now you can upload it and then they'll check off the marks, but it was like, what the heck? Now, the video is uploaded, but it's no longer reaching the masses because of this division. So a lot of people, a lot of the younger audience who are on YouTube Kids can't even watch The Lost Child because it's not allowed on YouTube Kids,
Yeah.
but it's allowed on YouTube.
Hmm.
And there's some videos that I've uploaded that I say, oh, this isn't made for kids. But YouTube is like, no, we saw it. It's for kids. We've determined it's for kids.
Okay.
And I can't fight it.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the audience on YouTube can't find that video.
Hmm.
But the kids can. And the kids aren't allowed to share. They're not allowed to comment. So it's like I lose the opportunity to even communicate with that audience, even if I wanted to,
Hmm.
which is such a shame because I feel like the example I gave when I went to Ranger Stop, I had this kid and he was a fan of mine and he wanted to talk to me and do all this. It's like, how many other kids out there are no longer seeing my YouTube videos because of YouTube Kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
And the unfortunate part too is, now with this division, half of my YouTube channel is like split in half. So I have people, like my fiance's family. One of their favorite videos is Men in Black skit that we did with DJ Rivers.
Yeah. 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 I
Um,
remember that.
they can't find it, and the reason they can't find it is because it's on YouTube Kids. And I'm here like, why is it on YouTube Kids?
It's
um,
crazy. You think that
it
the YouTube Kids stuff would be on regular YouTube at least,
Yeah. And like I tested this theory, like I downloaded YouTube Kids, I search for a video I'm looking for and it won't pop up. But my YouTube channel pops up, but the video doesn't. I go on YouTube, I search for it, it pops up. And I'm just like, why? Why are you like this?
Yeah.
Things were so beautiful back in the day.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I kind of understand why they did it because of the whole
yeah,
exposing kids to, like, some people are
yeah,
taking advantage of it, but
yeah.
um with something like this, more like human eyes should be on these things to help control it versus an algorithm. But I
Right,
mean, I know it's a
right,
lot of work, and especially like when so many creators are out there uploading millions of content every second, it's hard to
right.
regulate. But yeah. Another thing that I've, because I've seen you in a lot of things other than the work that you produce and direct. You've been collabing a lot with a lot of the fandom. How hard or how different is that to kind of let loose the reins as far as your creative control on things and just act in some of these?
Oh man. Sometimes it's fun, sometimes it's frustrating.
Because there's
And
little things you want to change, but you can't because it's not
exactly,
yours.
exactly. And that I think that's one of the biggest problems with like trying to be in somebody else's projects is that, you could give creative input, but you don't want to overstep, on somebody else's project. And I think
Hmm.
that's one of the biggest issues. But I am happy to collab. A lot of people tell me, what are your thoughts on collabing, and I'm like, I'm always open for it. It's just for me personally, I like to see the story, read the story, see where it's going.
Hmm.
Um, and I would like to give creative criticism.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I mean, like being on set with like especially Power Rangers, because I love Power Rangers, is it's kind of tough because you know I don't like judging, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I could have handled this differently, or I
Hmm.
see what you're going with, but I have to tell myself, you're an actor, you're here to act, you're
Yeah.
here to
Yeah.
act.
Yeah.
But I love it, man. There's people that take creative criticism very well, and there's others that don't. But hey, to each
Yeah.
their own.
Yeah. And you've also been auditioning for and being a part of a few films. How is that? How has that worked out for you? How has that been different than the content you create? Like being part of some of these shows, some of these movies. Is it kind of like eye opening and kind of steered you towards maybe doing more of that in the future?
Well, I mean, even before I started doing content creating, I did a lot of theater work in high school, middle
Mhm.
school, even elementary school. That's where I started. Elementary is where it all went downhill. Auditioning is definitely for auditioning for a project that has nothing to do with Power Rangers, especially horror. Um, it really takes a lot.
Mhm.
But being on set, it's more professional. When I'm not doing theater work, I'm doing it, in front of a camera. It's just like a different environment.
Yeah.
Like I like doing my Power Ranger stuff. You know, but I feel like Power Rangers always has that little twist, that little oh ha 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 moment. But when you're on set, especially for like, something that's not Power Rangers, you got to remember this is a different world.
Yeah.
This isn't your everyday PG-13 kind of thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you're dealing with people that don't even know Power Rangers. I think one of the funniest moments that happened to me was we were working in this film. It was taking place like late 80s, early 90s, and I was dressed like full like Stranger Things style. and and everybody on set was reading their lines, super professional. We have this old school ambulance. We just witnessed a death, and the costume person who's in charge of my costume and wardrobe, she had told me, "Oh, hey, what's your Instagram? Let's exchange info," and we did, right? And then we finish rolling, and all I hear is, "What the fuck, Danny?" And I turn around and I'm looking at her. She's like, "You're a Power Ranger?" And I was like, "What? No." um,
No.
and like it was funny, but it was just like like the environment is so different. It's just like
Yeah.
so different. Like people, like actors that aren't doing this, like fun skits, fun moment things, like it's just like a different environment overall. It's just
Yeah.
like you're dealing with real professionals, and then the equipment is super expensive, and you're catered. You're not eating chips and soda.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's completely different. But it's cool. Like I love doing it. I love acting. Acting
Mhm.
is what I do. you know um whether it's on stage or behind camera. And even that, theater acting and on camera acting is completely different.
Two different
you know
worlds. Yeah.
Two different worlds. And like people are all different. i
Yeah.
i love i love I love the artistry on actors themselves. Like people, when it comes to rehearsing lines, when it comes to becoming the character, everybody tackles it differently, and I think that's really cool. It's
Yeah.
beautiful, and it's a learning experience too.
Yeah.
Every
Definitely.
day, every day you learn something, from different people, from different artists. So it's really cool.
Definitely. Now, I know like you've wanted to cross these worlds together multiple times before. Can you for fans that, want to be Power Rangers and maybe audition for the next season of Power Rangers, is there any tips that you can give to them as far as from what your experiences are?
For sure. The tips I would give to anybody auditioning for Power Rangers is, if you know the audition is coming up, get in shape. Get in shape, because your appearance is definitely something they look at. Um, one of my coaches in auditioning literally told us this: the minute you walk into your into that audition room, your audition has started. So
Yeah.
definitely one is your appearance, the way you look, Look at everybody that's been casted as a Power Ranger. What do they have in common? They're all fit.
Hmm.
Okay? They're all dressed nice. Definitely if there's a color you're going for, dress like one of the previous Rangers and see what their wardrobe is like. Go and dress like that. You know, um, you know, know the material. They give you the audition piece, the sides, like very early on.
Hmm.
I say one of the biggest things to do is memorize the dialogue. Have that in your brain. Um, look at some Power Ranger episodes and look how line delivery is being delivered from these
Hmm.
actors and apply those into your scene. Um, there's that and learn.
Would you say like um being an experienced actor is key or used a lot for a lot of these auditions?
I mean, dude, experience honestly, I don't think experience matters as much, you know? Sorry. Uh,
Mhm.
experience doesn't really matter a lot, You
Mhm.
can be an unexperienced actor, audition for something and book it.
Yeah, yeah.
You'd be very surprised, and it's usually just because of the way you come off. It could be your energy in the room if you're really friendly. It could be your style. People might like your style.
Yeah.
And that's something that can book it. So you don't necessarily need to have the experience.
Yeah.
You know, um, um, but yeah, man, I think Allison, she was Lightspeed Pink. I think right out of high school she went and auditioned and she booked it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
But that's not the
and
yeah, that's not the same for a lot of the Rangers, but like some of them audition maybe 3, 4, 5 times and
yeah, I think Jason Font auditioned 3 times before he
yeah.
got Time Force. So I think it really depends.
Yeah, it really depends.
And that goes for any gig,
Hmm.
any acting gig. You just sometimes you're lucky, and sometimes your work shows for itself.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
it really depends. But yeah, definitely take some sort of like preparation before you enter an audition room.
Yeah, definitely. Now, outside of Power Rangers as a role, what would be your absolute dream role or show or movie to be a part of?
Oh man. Um, Obviously Power Rangers, but
Hmm.
um, dude, Star Wars is kicking butt right now.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and
know,
there's a lot of people that are getting some roles from it because I
yeah,
think, especially with cosplayers, I think Dave Filoni and Favreau like to use, even if it's for background actors, they
yeah,
like to use a lot of the fandom. So,
yeah.
what would you want to be in Star Wars?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so I just found out Speed Racer is getting a TV show,
Yes.
and
I love the last movie that they did. I don't know. I know it doesn't get a lot of
it's
love.
super underrated, man. It's a super underrated film. It
Yeah.
was it was too advanced for its time. But dude, when I heard Speed Racer's TV show was coming out, I was like, man, I'd kill to audition, you know. And one of my friends was like, "Who would you want to audition for?" And I just told him, "Dude, I don't care if I'm the first goon that Speed like knocks out of the road. I am still there."
Dude, that would be awesome. It's like even if you get that like 5-second clip, you could be like, "That's me
Exactly.
right there.
That's me. That's
That's
me
it."
right there. I think dude, I, there's so many like worlds I'd wish I could, be part of, like Stranger Things too, dude. Like, oh my
Great
gosh,
show.
like,
That show is, I,
oh my
it never
gosh.
ceases to amaze me how they level up from the last season. This
Yeah,
season is so
yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. And it's just like, dude, I'd kill to be a part of any of these worlds. It's just,
Yeah.
being a part of something that's amazing is just great.
Yeah. But you know what?
You know?
I know you are a big horror fan. I can see you being part of a horror franchise, especially a lot of these, a lot of young up and coming actors get their start from horror. Is that something? Is that a path that you can see
Yeah.
yourself coming in as?
Dude, I I I have like a list of like horror films I've been a part of on my resume.
Yeah.
And I always die.
Yeah.
So if I can play a character that's not dying, either I'm dying or I am part of the montage of monsters. Like I just want to survive.
Yeah. I just want to survive. Everybody just
But it's
wants to
okay.
survive.
Have you seen the color of my skin? I think that's why.
But I think we're moving in a direction where us being brown is we're making it further into the movies,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's a fun idea. Now, as far as aspiring, you know either Power Ranger content creators or content creators on YouTube, is there any tips that you have for them starting off? Anything that you want to tell them?
Dude, I think like the the YouTube game has changed so much. It's so hard to give advice,
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of people that want to do this want to do it because, oh my gosh, I'm gonna blow up. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get all these subscribers. But like that's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. If you're coming in with that intention, with that in your heart, I can't really advise you
Mhm.
because for
That's
me it
not the
was
way.
never like that.
Yeah, it's not the right way to go about it to
If
for
you're
growth.
if you're passionate about filmmaking, if you're passionate about storytelling, if you're passionate about, even any of these, pop culture franchises, like go in with the intention of trying to create something that people are gonna like, you know,
Yeah.
um, because that's how you build an audience. I feel,
Mhm.
you build an audience based on your storytelling. You build an audience based on on just making this because you love it. The minute you go in saying, "Oh, I'm gonna do this because I want the followers and this and that," I feel like if you don't reach that, it hurts
Yeah. Yeah.
because you start asking the wrong questions. Why am I not famous? Why am I not an influencer? And it's just like,
It's
what
not
is
it's
it?
not gonna work out for you.
Yeah, it's like it's hard to explain. It's
Yeah.
really hard to explain because it's like you're setting a goal for something without taking the right steps.
Yeah. Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I say if you want to go in and do like your own Power Rangers, because obviously this is what we're talking about. It's like if you want to go in and do your own Power Rangers, if you want to do your own series of Power Rangers, you know focus on your storytelling, focus on how you're gonna build this world. Once you have that, you go out and film it. Feel the motivation to do it. Um, share it, share it. The moment you start sharing your art, that's the moment people are gonna see it. You know, and if people see it and they like what you do, they're gonna share it. So that's how it starts building out.
Yeah.
And just be consistent with your work.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm lacking in consistency just because it's getting hard for me to like build this big world that I'm trying to build. But you know like I said, right now the algorithm is so off, but like the moment I share something, I start talking to those fans that pop up in my comment section constantly because they're there and they're there to give creative criticism and they're there to say, "Hey, this is awesome. I can see why you took long to do this."
Yeah.
And those comments mean a lot more than like, "Oh, yo, this sucked. Thumbs down." you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the only advice I can give, to anybody trying to do this is focus on your storytelling, tell that story, do it. Just go out there
Definitely.
and do it, and just be open to creative criticism too,
Yep.
because um,
sometimes it's good for you. Sometimes they're giving
Yeah.
you some really good advice
Yeah.
because it's what they want to see. And not changing your concept, but like what they think that you want to see. So I think that
Hmm.
that's awesome. I think like also like mostly I think um you got to do like you got to do what you love. And then if it's like catching lightning in a bottle, then it works out. But yeah,
And it's great that you said do what you love, because I think that goes back with trying to be an influencer or trying to blow up on YouTube.
yeah, yeah,
It's like if you're doing it for the wrong intention, you're not loving it. You're complaining about it.
yeah,
Therefore,
definitely.
you're not doing it for passion, you know?
Yeah,
If you're doing it with the passion and that heart, and because, oh, I love doing this, then that becomes more of a keep going.
yeah,
If you love it,
definitely.
keep going. Who
Yeah,
cares what people say, you know?
definitely. Well, Danny, thank you so much for your time. And dude, I can't. I need part two. I need part two. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on you, but part two
Well,
needs to come out.
here's the thing. There is no pressure. I can tell you right now, part two, the way I'm envisioning this is going to be awesome. You're going to
Uh-huh.
love it. I have a lot of the Lost Galaxy lore in there,
Yeah.
and I will tell you this. This takes place a few years after Terra Venture landed on Miranoi.
Oh,
So we get to see what the GSA and the people from Miranoi have been doing since, both worlds came to one.
so maybe leading up to another Power Ranger season.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
I am legit writing this like an episodic thing.
Yeah.
Um, and the Lost Child is part of that story.
That is
So
awesome. That is awesome. Now, where can everybody find you on social media?
you guys can find me on Instagram at surfer. You guys can find me on YouTube at We the Geeks of ELA .com. Or yeah, We the Geeks of EastLA.com.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you so much for your time, and you guys check out those videos, especially if you're a Power Rangers fan, because he has a ton of great Power Ranger content. Like I think the child the Mandalorian one is my favorite, and also the Predator one.
Oh my gosh, that one
Yeah,
was fun. That was very hard to shoot during the
yeah.
pandemic.
The just even the little details as far as like how the Predator hunts and everything, and like just the different characters that are getting captured. I think that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Dude,
So
well, I watched Predator 1 and 2, so I based it off Predator 1 and 2,
yeah.
and
Did you
that's
see
why
the trailer for Prey? For I
oh
think it's
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's
oh
insane. It's
yeah.
insane. I can't wait for that, dude.
So if you guys want to check out some of that content, be sure to check it out. The links will be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending in geek pop culture.